Hey guys, it's Sadie, and today I have another pigment spotlight video for you guys. Today we're going to look at Potter's Pink, PR233. Potter's Pink was invented by an unknown potter in 1780, and it was introduced by Winsor Newton into watercolor in the 18th century under the name pink color. So it's actually a pretty old color. It was one of the very first modern colors, and it was the first stable, vibrant pink because they had matte colors, but those were not light fast or stable. Potter's Pink is a really gentle, granulating, dusty pink color. You can see in the swatch that it has a very high granulating quality, and the Daniel Smith version moves pretty well in water, but it's not extremely active. The dispersion is very, very weak. It's almost like the paint disappears into the water. I tried the test a couple of times because I couldn't believe that it was so weak. In mass tone, depending on which version of the paint you have, it can be a bit gummy. The Daniel Smith version, at least how I'm using it here, seems to be okay, but you can tell that the mass tone doesn't really get darker or more saturated. It just stays at the same level regardless. The color is fairly opaque, I would say semi-opaque, and it lifts very easily. You have absolutely no problem getting right back down to the white of the paper. Potter's Pink mixes pretty well with other colors. It's very subtle, so it just gives a little bit of a hint of granulation to different colors. So here, mixing it with ultramarine blue, you get these dusky purples into an ultramarine that granulates even more than it normally would. Mixed with phthalo turquoise, you get a much cooler blue that sometimes almost becomes similar to a Prussian blue, except with granulation. So if you ever wish that Prussian blue had a bit of granulation, or that a phthalo blue had a bit of granulation, you can use Potter's Pink to make that happen and to make them a little warmer at the same time. Now, mixing with a cool red, the really cool thing about Potter's Pink is that by mixing it with quinacridone magenta, you can essentially make a duplicate for Rose Madder Genuine. Rose Madder Genuine is such a really beautiful color, and it's perfect for all kinds of flowers, but unfortunately, it's not light fast. There are a lot of imitation Rose Madder Genuines, but most of them don't granulate. But if you make your own Rose Madder Genuine hue using Potter's Pink and quinacridone magenta, you get basically the closest that I've seen to what the genuine Rose Madder looks like. You don't get the rose smell, but what can you do about that? Mixing it with a warmer red, you don't actually change the tone very much. You just end up introducing a bit of granulation into the color. Mixing it with a cool yellow, you get an interesting range of browns, which I personally wouldn't have expected. They don't go quite orange. These sort of colors could be really useful for a beach or skin or fur or rocks. And it's a very subtle color, but you can tell that it has quite a lot of punch. So you didn't just have to dilute a more strong pigment in order to get to this range. Mixing with a bit of a warmer yellow, you get another range of browns that are almost coppery golden. It's really a beautiful color and looks extremely vibrant, almost like gold or brass. So I decided to make a sort of delicate triad to use with the Potter's Pink. I'm using nickel titanate yellow, Potter's Pink, and zirconium cerulean. As you can see, when you mix the nickel titanate yellow with the Potter's Pink, you end up with this almost cafe au lait color that granulates very gently. And you can push that a little yellower and a little inker, which, if you like texture in your skin tones, can be perfect. And is also really useful for a lot of natural colors. You know how much I love zirconium cerulean blue, and it makes a really beautiful, gentle green when mixed with nickel titanate yellow. And when it's mixed with Potter's Pink, it gets an almost grayish purple, which is really useful for shadows. You can go pink or purple or more to the blue side. And when you mix all three together, you get a really gentle gray, which is really one of my favorite things to do with these colors. Instead of getting a very stark gray, you get a gentle granulating one. In the close-up, it's easy to see how the granulation impacted all of these colors. Even when the pinkishness is gone, the granulation is still there. As the subject for highlighting the qualities of Potter's Pink, I decided to use a peach because it's summer, or at least the end of the summer, and I thought Potter's Pink was perfect for showing off the gentleness and giving you the texture of peach fuzz without having to paint it in. So I'm starting out with some nickel titanate yellow just because I want a sort of gentle, bright yellow. On Instagram, I asked some of you what you use Potter's Pink for, and it turns out that you had a lot of different uses. One of you said, "I like to use it raw and see how it dances on my paper." Another person said that they like to use it straight, which is pretty nice. Just the dusky pink color by itself is really beautiful. Someone else said that they like to glaze it over the top of other colors to add texture, which I think is one of the best ways to use this color, or mixing it with other colors to add texture. Someone else said, "It adds an awesome reddish hue to browns. I use it for walls and buildings, and when I want to add a warm glow." There are several different types of Potter's Pink, and this person recommends the Schminke version as being the easiest to re-wet. I've heard many people say that the Daniel Smith version might be the most difficult to work with. This person says that they like to use it for hydrangeas, which is definitely a flower that could benefit from having granulating pinks because of all of the different transitions between pink and blue. And a bunch of you guys said that you use it for painting skin. Potter's Pink is not one of those colors that is on everyone's palette, and it's definitely something that comes down to your preference. I don't use Potter's Pink all of the time, but when I do, I am so happy that I have it. It fills a niche that no other color can fill. I only wish there were more versions of Potter's Pink available. So I hope that you enjoyed this look at Potter's Pink. Do you use Potter's Pink? Is it in your palette? Why or why not? This is just the second in my Pigment Spotlight series. The first was covering Zirconium Cerulean, but I plan on exploring many different colors in the future, and I'll be updating this series more frequently. Thank you so much to my patrons. It means so much to me to have your support. Thank you everyone for watching. Talk to you next time. Bye.